potatoes, some curds, and some fucking beef.
Oh, beef.
I could eat that every day.
I know, right? So good, so
Um,
basic, so good.
hey, y'all. Welcome to Super Summer Star Wars. Just kidding.
Super Summer Stew Wars.
We
Hey,
are a bunch of Star
I'm feeling like
Wars.
summer here.
Yeah, it is. Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
I hate it.
It's been
I hate it.
really unseasonably warm, so it
Oh,
seems
yeah.
like
By the way,
Fall.
summer wants us, or the summer season wants to stick around for us to finish out
I was
talking
gonna say
about
it's
Star Wars.
yeah, it's just waiting for Ahsoka to be done, and then it'll
Exactly.
fuck off. Hopefully,
Yeah, it's gonna be
my
cold
season.
tomorrow,
Get out of here, summer.
but we are gonna be reacting to the finale of Ahsoka. What did you guys think of this season so far?
Love it.
interesting. I'm hopeful that the finale can continue to hold an interest for what might come after, but also satisfyingly tie up some of its own elements and not have to feel so beholden to everything else.
I'm
Yeah,
with you. I'm with you
I
there.
so it's one of the things I love with Star Wars, particularly Filoni Star Wars, is just deep lore shit, and they've been doing deep lore shit. They got fucking cool Jedi shit. They got fucking
Balin's
uh
skull being
yep,
badass
being
and
stealing every goddamn scene. Rest in peppers, dude. Fucking our rebels people feel like our rebels people, which is great.
Yeah, but it
Fucking
doesn't. It's not the same without Zeb.
no, it's not. It's
And what
not.
do you what do you think are the chances of us even remotely of seeing
Yeah,
Freddie Prince Jr. Force Ghost?
no, he doesn't want to do it.
no.
He said he even had a problem. Well, he said he even had a problem coming back to do the voiceover for Rise of Skywalker because he just wants that character to have his ending and be done. You know
I'm
what I mean?
sorry. Did he watch the sequel trilogy when no one's ever really gone? I'm sorry to bust his
I
bubble
know.
there, but
Just the
That'd be
funny
cool. I would love it. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. I would love to see it.
the
But from
money's
what
there.
he
They'll pay
said,
him enough. They'll pay him enough.
the sheer
yeah, right.
confident finality in which you said no.
Yeah,
You were
no,
like, no, no, no. I've spoken to Frederick. He's made it
yeah.
clear
Me
he
and Fred
doesn't.
I'm
did.
his publicist. No.
No.
Me and
He
Fred
told me
were
very
tight. Like,
sternly,
yep.
Hingel's advocate, no.
Books closed. Books
Miss,
closed on it.
Mr. Prince
Watch, he
Jr.
pops up for a second in this episode, and I have to eat my words immediately.
So
It'd be great.
why is he Prince Jr. and not Prince the Second?
Uh, because he is. Well, you only become Prince the Second once there's a third. You know what I mean?
No, don't you start with that. Don't you try and give me some kind of logic that doesn't
Or it's a
make
pope.
any
Or
sense.
it's a pope.
He's
Because
a
you're not
pope.
gonna
There
call
you go.
Pope like
Just
Pius.
that's your answer. That's your answer. He's a
You're
pope.
not gonna call Pius Junior. You know what I mean?
He's a
Or
pope.
a king, right?
We solved it.
Kings,
The stations
kings and
of the Force.
kings and popes get the seconds and the thirds and
Well, he
stuff.
is. I mean, he is a prince, so I guess we do have to like give him
Oh,
some sort
he's
of
a
royal
prince.
leeway.
It's a
He's a
prince.
prince.
It's a prince. But
How
it's
do you
Freddie
say
A
Prince
that?
prince
Pope.
is
I like
different than
Prince
a
Pope.
Prince Pope. Freddie Prince Pope the
That's
second.
that's my favorite.
Burn the white smoke. The prince.
Frederick Prince Pope the second. That's his name now.
Can you imagine him just going down that motorcade and the Pope mobile just saying
The
no,
Pope-mobile?
really sternly, just no, no.
Nope.
I'm not coming back to Star
It
Wars.
has a sign. Yeah, it has a sign on the fucking dome car that says, "I am not coming back to Star Wars."
No,
He's
stop asking.
Signed Frederick Prince Pope the second.
He's inside the glass, just saying, "Help! Please get me out. I don't want to be here. I
Nope,
would
not
rather
gonna
be
happen.
at home. Please, please no."
But I hope I eat my words because I'd love to see him come back. You
Well,
know,
you already had your cold beef stew. Don't
I
fill up
did.
too much on words.
I did. They I hope I have a prediction of if old blue skin Throm boy gets into back into the actual like Star Wars galaxy, that he might be met with some Republic fighters, and among them maybe will be Zeb. You know what I mean?
That would be a nice little touch because they mentioned that
We
he's
could have a
training, like new recruits or something like that.
Yeah, training new recruits.
well, because he was, yeah, we saw him in the Outer Rim in Mando, right? So he's kind of out of
And Ezra
the
asked
area.
Zabine what.
Yeah,
Prince Sabine.
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
bean.
Well, so and she said something about he's training people, so it's like he's
I
obviously
missed
tied
that.
up, but he's got
Yeah,
people that he could be like, all right, maggots, we're all going and fighting the good
yeah.
fight.
Because then you could have like a final like little reunion thing with Hera and the Ghost and Zeb and you know
And his
Sabine
whole
and Ezra and
making an
all
appearance.
of that. Chopper. It's Frederick Prinz Pope II popping in.
Get him on the horn, Eric. See what he thinks about it.
He says no.
Yeah, well,
He just knows
he said
already.
no.
He
Sorry,
won't take my
he
calls.
said
He
no.
says no, even to me.
He said no. His outgoing message on his answering machine is no.
Hello, this is Frederick Prinz Pope II, and I am not available to take your call right now. No. Thank you.
Yeah.
Goodbye.
Thank you.
I'm
Goodbye.
also not going to do Star Wars. What if like Ezra like sacrifices himself or something, and we get like a little Force Ghost Ezra with a little Force Ghost Kanan? That'd be cool.
Well, that would kind of fucking suck because we've only got Ezra back now after 10 years chronologically in the universe.
Yeah.
He's been gone. We get him back for 2 episodes and then he dies. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Woo,
it
we
would
found him, everybody.
it would not serve that character well at all. It would serve Sabine's story of like her needing to like move on, but like that's about it.
I could see him maybe like a scenario where he chooses to stay behind in this universe where it's beneficial
Yeah.
for everybody else or something, or a separation of some kind needs to happen between them. But his
Right.
his death being on the table is not something that I feel is likely.
Yeah, maybe not a death. Maybe just him staying behind. Right.
They've done too much
That type
for
of
us.
sacrifice.
Like the show itself has been too happy to see Ezra, and
Yeah.
I just don't. Yeah.
Oh, dude. After that, like when he first showed up in that one episode, 2 episodes ago, it's like cool, but I didn't quite get a feel for him yet, and I was like, nah, I don't know if he quite feels like Ezra yet. But then in the last episode, during the fight scene and stuff, I was like, oh, this feels like Ezra. When he's
Yeah.
cracking jokes and
Yeah, when
all
it's
that stuff.
when it's Filoni
He's given
playing with
little-
his characters, but grown up a little bit. You know, he's got to
Yep.
put those familiar aspects of the character on display, just to be like, oh yeah, this
Now
feels
that-
like him.
now that Ahsoka's gotten out of the other side of the Anakin stuff too, she's starting to act like old Ahsoka too,
Yeah.
and a little lighthearted and make little jokes here and there, and love that too.
It feels like they maybe had the actor for Ezra sit down and watch like some early Ezra episodes, like season 1, like the pilot plus a few other season 1 things to be like, all right, let's capture some
Right.
of this.
What if
Right.
Ahsoka sacrifices herself?
She could, dude.
Yeah, she could.
It's her story,
She could
and
do the literal
she could like
sacrifice, or she can just stay behind in the other galaxy.
What if Ahsoka becomes the sister and Ezra becomes the brother and
Yeah.
Balin becomes the father? Oh.
The Holy
with all
Spirit.
this speculation, guys, it's making me want to start this episode. But we will
Let's do it.
We can just get into it.
we'll get into
We
it.
can be little specky boys this whole time. Just
Can we watch the
speculating,
show?
but
We're gonna eat
Let's
Becky
do it.
Brekkie.
we have the answers in front of us.
We're just not wanting to press play. It's like, let's just talk about it.
The answers are right here, damn it.
Now, is there any credit shit? They do that sometimes.
No.
No.
Cool. Good.
Wow, okay.
Okay, but we did it. We did it, guys. Super Summer Star Wars can be officially over.
Yep.
We made it through the
You hear that, weather?
Yeah, weather. Come on.
Taking a big red stamp, dipping it in some ink, and then slamming it down onto the desk. Summer over.
Let's get into this episode. The finale. Not a lot of Ray Stevenson, I'll say that, which was bittersweet.
Not enough.
Not enough for that. Yeah, that send off. And
There's to really quick, to me that felt like dropping the ball in a major way.
I'll leave it there for his title.
Not wrapping up things and featuring more Ray Stevenson, because we spent so much of this season building him up and talking about him and his things. And yeah, I think that and a few other things were a little bit of missed opportunity, but for the most part, this was a great episode.
There's a lot that delivered in this episode, and yeah, we'll get into it kind of beat by beat here. Starting off with, Ezra constructing his own lightsaber, which was kind of cool to see.
Yep.
If you
And
want,
like a lot of, I was gonna say, kind of like a lot of people we've seen in Star Wars now, with like masters who have fallen, they the students build their next lightsaber as like an homage almost to their master. Because Luke kind of did a similar thing. His was very similar to Obi-Wan's.
well, yeah. Did you kind of maybe somebody brought this to my attention, and maybe I like the idea, but I don't know how feasible it is that Luke decides to after he gets his hand cut off, he loses his lightsaber.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only place he knows where to find another lightsaber is on Tatooine, maybe in Ben's shack, and maybe Ben, from killing Darth Maul, kept his master's lightsaber, which then Luke used to make his own, or constructed his own with, maybe Qui-Gon's crystal of some kind, but then like made it himself.
So there's a couple. So like, there's a cut scene from Jedi of Luke building his lightsaber on seemingly Tatooine, I think. And then right now in the Star Wars comics, they're bridging the gap between Empire and Jedi. And
Cool.
he hasn't built his yet, but they're like kind of teasing it at this point. He's using like a found lightsaber right now that has a yellow blade.
Okay. I do like that idea because it is
Yeah.
like pottery to me. Like that kind of
Yep.
brings things full circle. Having the initial master of his father has that lightsaber, and his master that became, Obi-Wan, then training his son, who then, uses his dad's lightsaber, but also his dad's first master's lightsaber. So it's tying all these things together in kind of a neat bow that I kind of like. But
By the time the sequel trilogy rolls around, it seems like we're led to believe that Luke is probably aware of more things than he was previous, and it makes it seem like he's aware of like, oh yeah, I know who Qui-Gon was. Like, I'm aware of it after the fact now, and he's
probably been communing with them Force ghosts,
He's either doing that or he's got the ancient Jedi text. He's got those lying about. So he's brushed up. And it would be cool. But he's never spoken about it. And it would be cool to have some kind of recognition about like him building his own new green lightsaber, why it reflects Obi-Wan so much, and maybe where that comes from a little bit.
mm-hmm.
Because too, the other thing that we never really see Luke delve into that much, other than his conversations with Leia, is talking about Padme.
That's true.
Right.
Naboo. Luke never went to Naboo.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Because Luke is part Nabooian, essentially. So he's
And part Tatooine Immaculate Conception, baby. But getting back to Ahsoka here.
Yeah, we're going on a tangent, but I do like that idea. But to get into the Ahsoka, let's go into this Night Sister smothering they gave this.
It was weird. I mean, it was cool that she got an upgrade. But it was weird that it made sense. But
She got an upgrade, and she got a new, +5
That was the
ghost
cool bit.
weapon.
That was the cool bit. They call it the Sword of Talzin, and if you're a Clone Wars fan, you know of Mother Talzin, the leader of the Night Sisters in that. So that's a reference to her.
And
there it is.
She gets taken out at the end of the episode, and a I assume that Ahsoka still has that blade.
Yeah, I don't know.
Maybe she just like left it there, but like it, you know.
Well, she got hers cut, so now that's her new Shoto. Because it
Right.
is sort of small.
True.
Yeah, it kind of seemed like like.
Wouldn't that be badass? Like, that's a cool upgrade. You get the blade
So
of Talzin.
so maybe that's some way that it's like, oh,
Well,
this
and
is
then-
the Night Sister weapon, so maybe it
I was
connects
gonna
us back
say,
to the other universe, and we can use it.
She'd be wielding, and she could be wielding the light side and the dark side, right? Because the Night Sisters draw from the dark side of the Force, so she could be
Right.
wielding both. He's balancing.
It
Right.
this whole thing. It's
That could
like
be cool.
we spent how long on this scene right here?
Oh, it was the full intro. It was the first, like, 7 minutes or something.
So, and then like Elspeth gets taken out in the same episode, and it really kind of just like didn't lead to very much. And I feel like some of this time maybe could have been spent with Balin. What was he doing? What was he? Where
Again,
did he
it's
find those
second season
statues?
bait.
But they have done nothing to talk about or confirm we're making a second season, because at least me going into this, I'm like, okay, here lies Ray Stevens' last performance, and I'm not like, oh, I need
Yeah.
to wait for season 2 to see anything that might be remaining.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
I don't. How much more did they shoot with him? How do we get like one more episode and then he's out, or what? Like, I don't know. We spent like last episode. He was like, "Oh, my path lies different from yours." He didn't get a single line of dialogue this episode.
Right. No, they were just setting him up for basically setting up what the situation is on that planet in that galaxy for next season. But
But what if it's not
Yeah.
Ahsoka season 2? What if we have to wait to find out what happens with Ahsoka, Sabine, the
I mean, we will. We'll probably have to wait a couple years.
the little crap. But I mean, for not Ahsoka season 2. What if we don't see them until because this is now starting to lead into more of the like what
Filoni
has
movie
planned,
stuff.
yeah, for his movie or for future series that are not Ahsoka season 2 that still
Right.
deal with this same kind of stuff. It was just like I don't know.
Yeah, that part was, I think, could have been done, better with have some substance to the Balin Shin stuff outside of we were done with them last episode and we're just going to show them to set up where they are.
Because
going
I mean,
forward.
if we do pick up with this stuff, what Shin is now, because she like held up her lightsaber and they all looked at her and it seemed like she was being like, "Hey, dudes, I'm the person with
I'm
the
on your
most
side.
power, and you're gonna follow me now, maybe."
Yeah.
So
I looked at it as more of like, hey, it's me. Fucking, I'm on your side. Don't fucking murk me.
yeah,
I mean,
but that we can probably safely assume that for Ahsoka season 2, maybe Shin
you'll probably
and
be.
the mercenary people are going to be like the antagonists to the people that are still on this planet.
Yep. And
It's
then
gonna-
Balin's going to be the in between.
It's going to be like fucking Thundercats, and
Hell yeah, dude.
and it's gonna be, you know what I mean? Like it's just like this distant planet separated from everybody else, and these two opposing factions fighting over like
Yeah.
basically nothing.
Right.
I
It'll
am-
be interesting to see
I
what they do
am-
with Balin then. If they
Yeah.
recast or not.
Well,
Someone
yeah,
did
how
a
do you do that?
fan did something where they superimposed like Liv Schreiber into it because he looks similar. They're like to show how similar he kind of looks. But Liv Schreiber is also like probably half a foot shorter than fucking Ray Stevenson is.
Yeah, but you can get around height. Like look at Tom
Yeah,
Cruise
that's
and
true.
anybody else that's short or very tall.
That's true.
But I will say that the stuff that's happening with him seems to be very interesting. Like I want to know what that thing on the mountain is. I want to know what those statues were about.
Yeah.
Yep.
That
Like I
would,
said, it kind of reminded me of the father.
I'll get to that real quick.
And it,
I
and it
just-
does,
I-
and there was only two statues, right? There was seemingly the father, probably the son, and then there's the destroyed part, which, if you remember,
There is a person there.
in Clone Wars, the son kills the daughter.
I have an image
So-
of yes. These statues are exactly who that is. The middle statue figure with
It's the father.
with the tall hat is the father. The figure on the right is the same race as that Inquisitor with like the stripes on his head
Okay.
and like kind of like higher collar armor,
Yeah.
like right shoulder pauldron, and then the broken on the right. You can see a little bit of the longer hair coming down the sides and a little bit of like a female chin. That's the
Right.
father.
So that's probably what it is. It's that representation then. It's the
And
father.
Well, we
The
had
son. The daughter
pointing.
we did have
was
the owl.
killed.
We had the owl too, which is a
Yeah, the
representation
owl
of the
showed up.
mother.
Yeah, and that too, like the owl appearing to Ahsoka.
Yeah. So like, so is Balin? So is it going to be like Balin's the father and like
Well, he's a surrogate.
fucking
He's either a surrogate or an avatar of the father, and just like the
Yeah.
mother, Ahsoka is the surrogate for that. Maybe
So,
Ezra.
you mean the sister?
Yeah, the sister. But this is so
But
evocative of like
Shin might be the brother. You know what I mean?
Sure,
Shin.
absolutely, yeah.
But
I can.
the fact that he is standing on the father
Yep.
is like he's gonna ascend to that heightened status of some kind.
Yeah.
Like that's the power that he wants, is that father power.
I like some of this because it reminds me of like Lord of the Rings.
Yeah, like I said,
Yeah.
it's like the
Eye of
Argonauts.
Sauron, or like just this far off, distant thing. It evokes such adventure and such like. I don't even care if he's not a light side user. I just want to. I would goddamn.
But that's the thing. He's the father, so he's the balance of the two, right?
Yeah, and it's really sucks that we lost Ray Stevenson because I would watch an entire series of just Balin.
Yeah,
Right.
he's got that.
On his force
Look at that, man.
explorations.
He's got that
So
eye
fucking
in him, and like
interesting. What
I'm
a
gonna
shot to go.
look at that
What a
framing.
shot to go out on, though.
Well, look at that
You know what I
framing.
mean?
He is the father.
Yeah.
Like that's it. Like
Yeah.
that's what we're supposed to take away from the scene. So if that is him transforming into another version, so it's going to be Balin adjacent. So you can still say that, oh, Balin's spirit just inhabited the father now. So you can just write that into his plot and be
I
like,
put the
here
picture
it is.
of the father, son, and all that into the command center, so you can.
Yeah. I put
directly
the fan thing of Liv Schreiber in there too.
Let's get into other stuff about the episode before we get too crazy. The construction of the
Yeah.
lightsaber was cool because we got the tie-in with talking about his old master and Kanan, and like
Yep.
him basing it off of Kanan's lightsaber was kind of
Hu Yang just being awesome again
yeah.
in this scene too.
What's going on with my internet?
I'm glad that Hu Yang will be on the planet with them because
Yeah.
he's
such a great character too.
Yeah, he really
Dear
is,
Lord.
and David Tennant is like doing such a good job. But
Yeah.
he
Gravitas.
he'll still be around to be able to like spout off some really interesting stuff, probably.
We get to know that he was a clever boy. Caleb was very curious, a little shy, perhaps. That's kind of nice. We get a lot of like masters and their apprentices where they are now, and that comes full circle at the end. The last shot was just chef kisses all around. Thank you, Dave Filoni, for that, and how powerful that was.
Yeah, no, it was really nice.
When I said
Finally have
how it came full circle with Sabine noticing it, and then Ahsoka being like, "Hold on a tick," and then she goes up there and like, "All right, maybe that is him," and then we kind of pan out, and then I was hoping, but then the reveal of it, I was like, "Oh shit, it is."
I think
Yeah,
Eric,
right after.
Eric,
Well, she
you-
even says too, like, sorry, what was that, Wilson?
Well, you said something about like maybe she's seeing Pergil off in the distance, or like
Yeah.
we were kind of guessing what she might have been looking at. So I was waiting for something to show up. I honestly wasn't expecting what we saw.
Well, she says,
I was
but
hoping
it's kind of
because
fitting for
it fits.
Anakin too, because what Sabine says is she saw some shadows in the starlight, right?
Yeah,
Which is fitting for Anakin.
that's very poetic for Anakin. That's pottery right there.
Sure.
Yep. And
But like,
Mm.
I like that Ahsoka is seeing her master Anakin here, like how she basically like remembers him especially after her like recent experiences, and it kind of makes sense why Luke would see his father as he saw him at the end of Jedi, because that like he sees his father with his helmet off, sees what he looks like under there, so he can extrapolate and picture him and see him who he really is and all that, and that's why he sees him looking not like Hayden Christensen.
Or and to him, yeah, yeah. And
And
then like if we go with the edited version where Hayden Christensen is the ghost, then it's like, Luke seeing him like that, because maybe to Anakin, it's like, no, what you saw was Vader. I want you to see me.
yeah, like he's
You
choosing
know what I mean?
yeah, like he's gone through his redemption and he's now able to just choose to appear as just Anakin as he wants to. And
Yeah, as he was.
I like both of those things. It's nice that we actually got Hayden Christensen, real ass Force Ghost, real ass.
Yeah, real ass, dude.
It wasn't even like from behind, just over the shoulder, and it's like, oh, that's not Hayden.
No,
Mm-hmm.
no, there he is. Yeah, that was a great end to it. We had I mean, yeah,
The smile.
the pace of this episode. Yeah, exactly.
He's like, I taught you well. You learned everything. You're better. Like he said in that one episode, like, I want you to be better than me or whatever.
Hey, if he wants to come back for season 2, if they want to keep using him as somebody to talk to Ahsoka and have little powwows with, I'm all for it. Keep bringing Hayden back.
Oh yeah, like there's so much more that you can learn from Vader and just Anakin, and just to dive into that whole idea, like the idea of him being the chosen one. It still needs to be talked about and discussed, because it is the crux of the whole show, like the inciting incident.
Especially if this all involves the father, son, and daughter stuff, right? Because he was heavily involved in that, part of the story, where the father wanted him to basically take over his role, and Anakin was kind of ho-humming about it, and it led to, the son killing the daughter and throwing everything off balance,
Mm-hmm.
So, again, maybe that is a way that Anakin is the chosen one, is that he obviously became Vader and his direct actions were pretty terrible, but through his either indirect or further actions, he brings new people to be avatars or fulfill the roles of father, son, and daughter. So he, in some way, does bring balance to the Force, and that is his role as chosen one, is to like help facilitate, like, oh, Ahsoka's journey through being a Jedi and like leaving that, and then it is. I like to think about because we have that one fucking line from Obi-Wan where he's like, from a certain point of view. So sometimes it's interesting to think about like all the different really esoteric ways that like Anakin could fulfill a role as chosen one.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, he can insert himself into any of these understandings of the Force and the will of the Force, and things like that.
Yeah, by him, completing Ahsoka's training, maybe that leads her to being, the, like you were saying, like her being the avatar of the sister, and then we have, the sister, brother, father stuff again, and then so there's quote unquote balance, you know what I mean, where he did end up bringing balance to the Force via his actions.
Well, it's definitive to me that since the owl keeps representing itself to Ahsoka, she is definitely the sister. The issue is with the brother.
From the end of Rebels, there's the shot of her with Sabine, and she is all like Ahsoka the White style, where she's got like a big white robe and a staff and stuff like that. Which we still haven't gotten, which means that's still a point in the future we haven't gotten to.
That's true.
And then we have that kind of start of Ahsoka the White here, where she's, after the Anakin stuff, she's in her all white and all that stuff.
Her Zen mode, yeah.
So help me parse through the timeline a little bit, because this is obviously post Battle of Endor, because they directly reference it as a past event, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So in this is after that. So Anakin has already appeared as a Force ghost to Luke. He's already Vader
Yeah.
has already had his relationship with Luke, and there's been a
Yeah.
resolution to that, or at least a turning point in that relationship.
Yeah.
So I think my interpretation was that Anakin that we were seeing in the World Between Worlds look was the continuing spirit that was like Anakin. It wasn't just like her seeing him or like a representation or manifestation. I was like, oh, that's him. He lives on in
Yeah.
the living force or whatever as a
Yeah.
force ghost, and this is him.
Well, that's
Yeah.
that's essentially what Luke discovers in Dagobah. Like when he goes there, he fights what he thinks is his father, and he's having visions of, these tangible, like kind of in slow motion, but it's still like you're in a dream state. You're fighting against yourself, so there is an aspect of the Force that's presenting itself as something you fear or just an obstacle that you need to overcome, and then understanding that when he strikes the mask off of Vader, he sees himself. He's like, oh my gosh, well, this is just a no brainer. This is my dad. Like we know that as an audience, like this, yes, it makes sense. And it comes later on that, I am your father.
Well, see, so my kind of thinking here is that if the Anakin in this show that we saw in the World Between Worlds was he's dead, but he's still around. It's the same character as as the prequel trilogy,
Mhm.
really.
Yep.
So Hayden Christensen is able to come back, and we're able to get more because he was already Vader. We've already had all that. Everything that we can like dig into that we haven't been able to see in the movies, really, because that's what the majority of people, are going to go to the theaters and see Star Wars.
Yeah.
We get to see more exploration of like Anakin and like all
Yeah.
this. He can keep coming back, and he can still be the same character as a Force Ghost.
Well, to piggyback on that idea, and I mean, it's kind of an interesting path they're taking with this kind of fable, this, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. They're borrowing a lot from media, from, reality. So the Holy Trinity is represented in the Father, Son, and Sister. The Chosen One idea, rising from the dead, becoming a ghost. They're
Immaculate Conception.
Immaculate Conception, yeah, exactly. So if they're going to go along with that, there is a potential. I don't know if they can write it very well and make it like structurally sound. They can have a second coming of Anakin in certain ways.
I was gonna say we're gonna have a Star Wars Book of Revelation, dude.
You could. I mean, they're
Well, since I'm not as familiar with the Christian concepts that you're talking about, can you extrapolate like in what way would his second coming be? Like you said Revelations, like how, like just bare bones kind of lay out like
So,
what
like-
Anakin's
well, it's the
role or
end
what Star Wars
times. Like
Revelations-
things are
Yeah.
becoming very cataclysmic. Like things are just
The-
going very.
The Antichrist.
Yeah.
The Antichrist has made his way to the world, and he's kind of ruling over everybody. People are going through like 1,000 years of
Darkness.
like what is it, darkness and all this stuff underneath him, and then fucking, that's when you get all these fucking
Rapture.
big demons and shit, and
The
and then
rapture
fucking-
takes away the good people, and like the other neutral people just get to suffer in this
and then
reality hell.
old boy Jeebus comes back in.
Yeah, he
and he
starts to
fucking-
nuke everybody. All the demons and the angels
Yeah.
come down from heavens and start just.
There's that saying like out like a lamb, in like a lion, whatever the fuck.
Yeah.
That's Book of Revelations shit.
So is that
He-
is that accurate that Jesus and a bunch of angels like basically smite like
He comes back and saves everybody and brings them
to
to
salvation,
the Promised Land.
But
But does-
to live forever
Sure,
with
sure.
him.
But does he actually like? Is there any like engaging of not forces, but you know what I mean? Like, is there a clash of some kind?
I mean,
or does he just say
It's written by a dude.
When you
tripping
say
balls on
when you
moldy
say
bread and a
biblical
cube, or, like-
proportions, when you say that in any sentence, it's always like evocative of, oh yeah, shit's going down and it's going to be fucking brutal. And when you have like even Saint Michael the Archangel just defending people in battle, just knowing that as like something that people say to kind of like settle their, or get them calm before they have to do something really taxing,
like Is there a thing in there of Jesus coming and just beating a bunch of ass and stuff? No, there's not that. But
Well, I mean, probably not, but I just
The Holy
it
Spirit shows up.
kind of
Yeah.
doesn't matter. But
that's what he calls his fucking right hook. The Holy
if what
Spirit.
you're talking about, Tyler, and what we're kind of talking around here, like these ideas, these Christian themes, maybe, because there's all kinds. There's westerns, there's samurai, there's Christianity, there's all kinds of shit. If we continue with this, all right. So Revelations, right? The son of the devil. Does that sound anything like Heir to the Empire?
Yep.
And
exactly. That's what I'm saying.
And Anakin comes back, and he saves everybody by taking them with Ahsoka and other people to this other universe. Maybe that's why they're not mentioned, or their presence is noticeably lacking in sequel material or things like that. Like, oh, they got fucking raptured with Anakin.
Yeah.
Well, when you say things like the Chosen One, it's hard for you not to travel down that path. And I'm just saying this because I think, like, it might be interesting, but I'm fine with them not even doing that idea. But since they are borrowing from all these different mediums, all these different sources, with philosophy and how they like pottery and sort of cycles and repeating things and Holy Trinities, Immaculate Conception, they're just all these different ideas of like fables and just these interesting concepts that are reality that we can connect with as, like, you know, as ourselves right now, not in terms of this fantasy world, but those are the things you can connect with as a viewer and be like, this reminds me of that. But they're doing it in such an interesting way that doesn't, you know, it's its own thing, it's its own element, and they're just doing a little twist on it. Like if Balin becomes an avatar of the Father, that's super interesting to me, and that just is more of the prophecy being fulfilled. And then explaining that Anakin can come back in a different form. If they do that in a good way, I'd be really happy, because that's what I was latched onto, is his whole journey from the sequels to the prequels. Like knowing that this is his journey, and to fulfill that journey has to come full circle. So he might have to be reborn in some form.
Well, yeah, and they already did in a way, symbolically, the initial resurrection, right? Where you have Anakin essentially die on fucking whatchamashit, Mustafar.
Yeah.
Essentially, and then be
Reborn
resurrected in a new
Vader.
form as Vader.
But more than once, because then he dies as Vader and returns as Anakin.
Still out like a
but I mean, like this time would be the Revelations one, where he comes back in all his glory and fucking shows everybody what's what.
Well, if we're talking about, like, at the end of this, we see that all these caskets are on this cargo ship that they're going to Dathomir.
Yeah, we don't know what the fuck those are for.
They're essentially going to make the dead rise, and, you know, his undead army. You saw that army was just like, they could not be put down by any typical means of like shooting them or whatever. Like, they just get risen again. Like, they just keep coming back. So it's like an unstoppable force. How else are you going to do it? You need some heavy power. You need some Force Ghost dude showing up and like becoming tangible. And even if it's that, even if it's not him becoming corporeal, he can actually will himself from the cosmic force into a tangible sentience. You know, it's like, I'm so powerful. I'm such a chosen badass that I can just become corporeal from the force.
Power through. That'd be cool.
One thing we've never seen that seems like, I don't know, something that would be in the realm of possibility is like a Force Ghost somehow, like somebody fully opens themselves up to the influence of the Force and allows a Force Ghost to basically like possess them, or
like Dead Man style.
Yeah, exactly. Something like full on astral projection. Somebody like leaves their body and become a
Luke kind of did that, so we know that that's part of it.
Yeah, he kind of did actually. True.
Yeah.
From the comfort of his own cave.
But it killed him. Maybe because of the distance.
It did.
Just
too much
of...
He's not the chosen one.
Too much power.
He's not the chosen one. Sorry.
Yeah.
He doesn't have the power.
But would it be possible over a shorter distance?
Who knows?
When you're the
Maybe.
chosen one, anything is possible. Through God, all things are possible.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
Through
Well,
Sheev, all things are possible. Sheev's God in this situation.
Well, Sheev and Plagueis in a
Plagueis.
way.
yeah, it's a little bit muddied when you dig down into it, but like he really is kind of the fly in the ointment because at some point, if we are gonna connect any of this to sequel stuff, we have to explain
The
how
Sheev of it all.
Yeah, the sheave of it all. Really, that's a good way to put it.
I mean, we know he's just a clone. I mean,
Do we?
we knew in the
I
movie
feel like
that's
I'm
what it
still
was.
very much in the dark on what exactly was happening with him.
Really? I mean, I thought it was pretty clear in the movie that he was just a
See,
clone.
see, I feel I can
I don't
say
know,
that
Bradshaw.
I also feel pretty. Hey, I know what I feel like I learned from the movie.
I think it was his
Honestly,
corpse.
It adds up to nothing.
Yeah,
It wasn't his corpse though, because it didn't have all the lightning scars on it. He still had
He
Sheev
had
face.
like burnt ass, rotten fingers. He had gross finger.
Because it wasn't a perfect clone.
Was it a clone or what? I also thought that it was his corpse that continued living on.
right. If we
after death.
knew
See,
the
I
clones
didn't think that
existing before
because-
the main trilogy, then you got to think that he was one step ahead of everything by making all these clones do his bidding, and maybe Vader threw a clone that was a near perfect clone down the
But like
shaft, and the real him
but like
is
I
just
said, though,
like hooked up.
the clone doesn't have the lightning scars on the face. He still has regular Sheev face.
No. He does
Yeah, he
not have
does.
regular Ian McDermott face.
He does. He does 100%.
It was too dark. I can't say for certain, but I don't know. Who knows? It's Sheev, and
We know because there's a movie that we all watched and we saw these images, we heard these sounds.
I blocked
we
those images out of my head the second I went away from that film.
Okay, so he kind of did.
Somehow
have a
Palpatine returned, guys.
But then he also looks like fucked up too.
But-
Well, because it's a rotting clone. It's not perfect. He's saying the vessel's dying, and he needs somebody to put his fucking spirit in.
Give me the juice.
Yeah, he doesn't have them juicy fucking lightning scars.
I think you'll find this juice fully operational.
Because, like, I mean, part of it is probably I just assumed they were doing the same thing that they did in the old EU, which is him have clones. But, like, I don't know. I just thought it was
Digging up them
More
clones, digging.
clearer
Digging up them
than.
clones.
I mean, they didn't outright say it, but I seemed like an obvious thing to me that he was just a clone. But
Somehow Palpatine returned.
Yeah.
So that's all that I know from that movie.
Well, yes, apparently that's all that we get.
And then, it's to get back into this show.
yeah.
Hera meets up with actually Chopper first. He's like, I know this homeboy. Let me talk to this motherfucker.
yeah, Chopper knew from the get go. He's like, I know this boy.
Hell yeah. I really liked that he just rolled up and was like,
Yeah.
hey, I know what you're doing. I know
I know this
is
boy. What are you
Drake."
guys doing? This is my boy. But yeah, because the pace of this episode, it doesn't really stop. It's basically like once that intro thing starts, then it's like, okay, we've got to fucking the intro with the dark sided peoples, and then we have our little catch up with the light sided peoples, and then it's go. Then it's fucking okay. We got to get to the ship, and then there's the TIE fighter shit. There's the fight with Morgan Elsbeth.
There's a
Fucking-
couple fights with her.
Yeah, Ezra gets on the ship. There's the fucking zombie troopers, which you didn't really talk about, which is perfect for spooky season. And then
It really was.
It was great.
and then
It was well done. Like it wasn't
Then
something
Sabine-
that I expected really ever to see in Star Wars, but I felt like it was well done for. I
Yeah.
don't know if they'll continue to use the idea of like undead troops that fight the good guys, but
We don't know for sure. Those
It's-
definitely look like caskets that they're.
it's another example of like the Empire not caring about, you know what I mean, like their, you know, like it's like the clones all over again, right? The clones were seen as dispensable and you just fucking make more and whatever. This is like, yeah, they're people, whatever, we'll just resurrect them and have them be fucking, you know,
The mindless zombie
fight for
troopers.
us again.
They did the
But yeah,
match.
basically, then we get the Sabine choice again, which is cool. This was it did have good character stuff for Sabine in this, where it's like, Sabine has to make the choice again, Ezra or Ahsoka, and this time she decides to fucking hang and help her master instead of, do the selfish thing and go be with Ezra like she wants to be.
I
You know what I mean?
I think
Yep.
it also really was helpful that we had a really good scene of Ahsoka being like, "Look, I learned something from my master, and that was he was always there for me, so I'm always going to be there for you." And so Sabine was
Yep.
like, "You know what? Hell yeah." I enjoy.
Dude, seeing like 3 or 4 lightsabers on screen together made me super happy too.
Yeah, that was fun.
This double jump. We got to get into this double jump. They learned from
Yeah,
Cal
like,
Kestis here.
this I, this being like a culmination of this season of like Sabine's journey through the Force, I think that I'm very satisfied with it. Like having known
Yeah.
what kind of character she was, what kind of capabilities she's had, it's it's refreshing to just have it be plain and flat out be like, look, yes, like aptitude does have something to do with it, but basically anybody can use the Force if they really want to. You just got to try hard and like dedicate yourself to it.
Yeah, and this was after
Well,
she
and like,
summoned the saber to murk that dude in the head with it.
Mm-hmm.
That was kind of
and
cool.
like, contrary to some Jedi shit and maybe like proving the whole, kind of grayness of it all, is like she's using her wants or emotions or whatever, something that drives her to use the Force. You know what I mean? Like Ezra getting over, she's like, she's sure she can do it because she knows she wants. Like, like if there's anyone that can make her, you know, be able to do what she's going to do, it's the person she's been trying to save this whole time.
Mm-hmm.
It's
Yeah,
using
I
the
mean, like,
Force in relation to helping or whatever others.
yeah, the
So
Jedi
it's kind of,
say like no, attachments are bad, but
yep.
But some are
Maybe that's
good.
just it. Maybe that's what makes the quote unquote normal people be able to use the Force, is their attachments, right?
well,
Whereas,
attachments are bad. Is attachments are bad when you have a high council of people that are telling you attachments are
yeah,
bad. That's
Yeah, we
when
just
right.
know from experience and from all this data that when people have attachments, they can actually tend to go down the dark side.
yeah,
But like, how
But
to just teach us how to manage that
but
then?
you shouldn't do that. No.
but in that same sentence though too, it's like it's the having attachments when you have that much power makes it easier to corrupt, right? Or if it's somebody who has attachments but they don't have access to the sheer amount of power that someone naturally gifted with the Force has, you know what I mean? Like, it's a different situation, I think.
Sure.
So say that in different terms. Like, if you have a lot of power and attachment,
Like,
then you're more
and
corrupted.
attachment, it's easier for more damage to happen um because being corrupt, like, being having that much power, and it's kind of the Anakin thing, right? He had a lot of emotional drive, but having as much power that as he had, it made it more dangerous and ultimately a bigger catastrophe when shit happens. If you're like somebody who's less naturally gifted like that, you don't have that access to that power. In I don't know, maybe it doesn't make sense as I'm
So
talking it out, but
I
like you're
I
less you're not as a danger at that point.
Yeah,
I don't know.
he was. I think he
yeah.
was meant to have the attachments. He was meant to
Yeah.
be conflicted and have the power.
Yeah.
He wanted it all. Like, that's the world is yours, Anakin.
Well,
You get it
that's
all. You get your cake and you can eat it too.
nice,
It's
nice.
it's Jesus stuff again,
He
right?
wanted to be Tony Montana.
Yeah,
He
it's like,
wanted,
you want to play rough? You want to play
"Love
rough?
is mine."
Okay,
Um
say hello
I
to
get
my
what you're
little
saying,
friend.
Eric, but
yeah.
here's the thing: is it wasn't dangerous. It was only dangerous because he did not have any kind. It's like Tyler said. He had people basically telling him like, "Hush, hush, now, little one. Don't think about that. Don't talk
Right.
about that. Just
Suppressing him the whole
ignore
time.
that. Move on with your life. Don't worry about it." Like
Obi-Wan was a bad teacher, a good
if it
friend, but
was
a bad teacher.
Yeah.
if things were different and they were not so stingy about this stuff and were like, look, yes, attachments can be very complicated. It can lead to bad things. It can also lead to very good things. But
Yeah.
we're here to help you through whether it's good or bad. And if it came to the point where Anakin was like, look, I'm having feelings of through the Force, whatever, I'm worried about Padme. You got to help me. Even if she died, if he
Yeah.
had like the entire fucking Jedi Council and the entire order around him to like put their arms around him and just be like, bro, we got you. I know it sucks, but it's okay. We're here for you. We're going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
They basically needed better mental health training. You know what I mean?
Well, they needed to
It
not
was-
be like,
where
dude,
they were
don't.
at is like the 50s, where it's just like fucking do cocaine about it or something. Like fucking,
Tony
you know what I
Montana
mean? Like
strikes
ignore it.
again.
It's whatever.
Here you
Fucking
go.
man up.
Here you go, little
Fucking
boy Anakin. Go
get
smoke
out of here.
cigarettes.
Oh,
Go-
you're not getting better? Fucking leave us.
Go
You
smoke some
shouldn't be
death
here then.
sticks. You know.
Yeah.
Well,
Where in reality they should have treated it, and they didn't.
I think that's a very simplistic outlook on it. You know, everything said and done, but
Yeah.
it really was. I think Tyler, you're not wrong. Where there just was a lot of like things that Ahsoka and Sabine both don't really have to deal with that much. Is people around them being like, no, you can't do that.
That's
Right.
bad. Why are you having visions? That ain't good, dude.
It's the Boken Jedi stuff that Balin is talking about, right? It's
Yeah.
the Jedi that are come about without the Council, so they don't have that rigid structure that tells them what is and isn't right with the Force and how you use it, right?
Well, like Yoda was saying when he was approached by Anakin about these visions he's been having, and then Yoda's just like being kind of like shooting him down, or like kind of saying like, "Why are you doing this? You can't be doing this,
Yeah.
Anakin." And he's like scolding him for
Yoda
having a
becomes
vision. Like,
Mexican there.
dude, I'm not even. Hey, hombre, what are you doing?
Anakin
Anakin, how dare you?
wearing a tiny little sombrero.
Yeah.
Ay, ay, ay.
But I think Yoda's to me now, as I've was thinking about, we talked about the other day the like disaster lineage or whatever.
Hmm?
The more and more I think about it, and I think about Yoda, is I really think he is kind of a transitional point where he still like rigidly like abides by like the Jedi stuff, but you can tell there's something underneath him that isn't sure, and that's kind of like, but he still does it, but there's something he realizes isn't quite right.
Yeah,
And like, so I think that's where the breakdown starts, is with Yoda realizing, or in the back of his head being like, shit, maybe, well, I don't know.
Well,
And
he's
just-
like, into
'cause he's
exile, I
still
must
at fault,
go.
'cause he's still at fault because he still goes with what the Jedi should do. He doesn't make that break that eventually the people that come under him do. But like, you can tell the germ of that idea is in Yoda's head
it seems like he
somewhere.
tries to keep a very open mind and at least allow the possibility of like, but what if we're wrong? You know,
Yep.
like, and yeah, he probably just goes along with it for other stuff. But he, it's funny that you say that because
Bird.
he learned his lesson with Anakin, where everybody basically told him a real big lie, and there was all these rules, and there was all this restriction upon him of how he could
Yep.
be a Jedi and how he couldn't be. And then Luke rolls around, and by this point, Yoda's just a crazy old hermit on Dagobah,
Yep.
and he basically doesn't give him any rules. He's just like, put me on your back and run around and do flips.
Yeah.
And
He just breaks it down to the bare essentials of what it is,
well,
without all the fucking pomp and circumstance bullshit,
yeah, there's that, and like the only lie or like pomp and circumstance bullshit that Luke gets confronted with is Obi-Wan's, obfuscation to him about the facts
Yeah.
about his dad. Because Yoda doesn't say shit until after Obi-Wan says something. He's smart. He keeps his mouth shut.
Yep.
And
He ain't no dummy.
so it's like oh, the same kind of stuff can happen, but it's like an easier, he's breaking it to him easier because the only lie that's being told is like, well, look, yes, we said your dad was dead, but like technically he kind of did die, but he's still around and he's Vader. But like, look, we didn't want to tell you. It's like it's not the same thing as living your entire life from being a child and being like, don't have attachments, don't feel fear, don't be anxious. No, no, no,
Yeah.
don't. I said
Don't
don't.
do it.
No.
That's don't be like
Well, they
afraid.
knew it.
Don't be anxious. Don't just you're getting anxious because I told you don't do it.
Yeah.
Can't be
Mm.
Jedi.
Injured?
I
Good.
think, I think Yoda knew too, to keep his mouth shut, 'cause he knew if they told Luke that Vader was his father, like that would just throw all the shit off. You know what I mean? Like that would,
Yeah.
that would create, that would probably freeze him up and not make him not able to really confront him and all this stuff, when they needed him to, and you know,
To get back on point of the show Ahsoka,
yeah,
my I enjoy this conversation that we're having. I really do. My major feeling, kind of my last thought here, my major feeling about Balin is I just really wish that we got more because I'm not
Yep.
sure how much more we're going to get of him, and
Yeah.
I would have rather had more now than possibly a little bit later.
Well, and we're saying that now too. I mean, regardless of if what happened or not with Ray Stevenson, like regardless, it still would have been great to have more of what Balin wanted to do in this in general, just from a general, TV show, story making situation.
Yeah.
But like even more so, we feel it now since he's gone. You know what I mean? Like
One more
now
good
we're left
scene
with
of
either
dialogue with him.
abandoning that or recasting. Like that's
Yeah.
what we're left with.
Like one good scene of dialogue with him, and then maybe let's end with like we see him on the statue, we see what he's looking at, and he gets to the destination and we see where he's at, and then we end there. So at least he gets one more scene of this season to have dialogue, to do the great acting that he's been doing.
Yeah, it's so
Yep.
bittersweet this whole time that we spend with him, like knowing that this guy passed away before the show's even aired. It's like we just know we want more
And then
of
he does
him.
a fucking amazing job in it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
You know?
so bittersweet. It's like
really.
he established such a endearing character and pining for those old days and knowing Anakin and like he has history. He has history like that goes back.
I'm sure that there were multiple hands in the mix, but the writers too. If it was mainly Dave Filoni, whoever, like,
Filoni wrote every episode.
yeah, but like I'm sure that there were some other people who, everybody who had a hand in helping bring Balin to life.
Yeah.
I think they did a great job, and I would like to see more of this kind of thing. Like, this is a brand new character. I've enjoyed every second. Find a good actor to just have an enjoyable time doing their thing, doing some great acting, and yeah, it's a shame. It really would be. I'm hopeful we get Ahsoka season 2 so that I can. Yeah, it's going to take a while, but or will
So we
it?
can
I
get
want to get a
re-soaked?
shot of him.
I'm ready to
Right.
soak up again.
Yeah. Yeah, because I don't know if they did any more with him outside of what we got, but like it's yeah, I don't know. It's tough. Like
It'll be explained somehow.
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
One of the things I noticed in this episode too that is a kind of a weaker point. It can be ignored if you're not paying close attention, but this happened earlier on too. Um, it's when it's the fighting with the actress who's Morgan Elsbeth
Hmm.
and Ahsoka. Like it's like we know that Rosario Dawson has had a lot of fight choreography or like fight training and stuff for this. Like, because we've seen her in other stuff, in other fights, be real, fast and real, like with the Balin stuff and whatever. Like, but I have a feeling that the actress who was Elsbeth didn't have as much simply because she didn't fight much.
Hmm.
And you can kind of tell because the fight the fights with her are slower, and there are parts where like you can almost where they're almost telegraphing where stuff's gonna go. Like maybe there was a part where Ahsoka goes for a block like a little early. You know what I mean? Like before she starts swinging at it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Well,
and that's just
what
something
kind of
I
like
noticed. And it only happens here, and then there's another time where she fights Elsbeth or something where it is also kind of slow.
there. I mean,
And
I did feel that there were times where it's like they're fighting the stormtroopers, and we've seen them get slashed with lightsabers multiple times, and I don't know what the damage threshold is of their armor or of
right,
human bodies, or like what these things are supposed to do. There are times when I just think it honestly comes down to the director, kind of
right,
being able to coordinate the intricacies of stuff like good fight choreography and stuff like that, and good coverage and
right.
dialogue
Because I
and
assume it's
overall storytelling.
the same fight choreographers throughout this whole thing. I assume.
You would assume, yeah.
And like I said, the stuff with Ahsoka and Balin looks very smooth. And like that stuff, it's just when it's the actress who's Elsbeth, it just seems a little slow or a little clunky, you know?
McClunky.
McClunky, yep.
McClunky, a little McClunky. Like I said, it's something that like unless you're like kind of paying attention to it, you're not gonna really notice, and it's not that big of a deal. And she does a great job at her role anyway. The actress who's Elsbeth, it's
She
fine.
did.
I like this
Yeah,
give and
yeah.
take. Like, I like her, but I don't like this. But I do like her. But it's like it's a struggle.
Yeah.
It's fun watching
Well,
you
'cause I
struggle,
don't
bro.
want it to come off like I'm. Yeah, I
No,
don't want it
it
to come off like I'm
totally is.
shitting on her.
I know.
Yeah, I don't want it to come
You're
off
not.
like I'm shitting on her because
You're
I'm not.
you're being
Uh, uh,
critical. You're being fair. But
Yeah, I'm just being critical of it, of that very specific part of the performance, which
that's okay. I
unless you're
didn't even
really
notice.
looking at it, you're not gonna notice, you know.
I don't think I was
But
even. Sometimes when lightsabers ignite and start fighting,
it's just it.
my eyes like glaze over a little bit.
Yeah, you're
Yep.
just like,
So
oh,
yeah,
It's
fun.
lightsaber time.
Turn it on,
I'm
baby.
really looking out for like the good flashy moves of good choreography rather than just like swing, block, turn around each other, move a little bit, roll. Like
Yeah.
Roll, double jump, block,
But
parry.
yeah, I think
lightning bolt.
the the episode had a quick pace to it, which mostly worked out, but also led to, like we were saying, some things getting either glanced over or because of how it was structured, some things getting left on the table that we wish wouldn't have. I don't know, like there's
Or
things I really like about the episode, and then like I said, the Sabine stuff and the ideas proposed with the Balin stuff and the possibility of
The imagery.
Ahsoka being the sister to Balin's father, like all that stuff. The Anakin thing was great. The story, little Kanan stuff was cool. The reunion with Hera and Ezra, I could have done with a little more of that. I could have done with like an embrace or something like that.
Mhm.
But that was nice too.
Yeah, he didn't even say
Thrawn
anything.
was
He just
cool.
said, "Hi, Hera."
See, okay,
Yeah, he's like,
one
I'm
more
home.
episode of this season really would have brought things home, where we could have had wrapped
Right.
up with Balin, more Ezra and Hera being home, have him meet back up with Zeb.
Right.
Yeah,
Get some sex.
I guess it's part of two now. So now, like the streaming series episode counts have been dwindling. Like when we first started going, it was a pretty solid like 12 episodes for a streaming series, and then it was 10. Then now we're getting to like 8. Some are doing 6. Like it's the amount of episode count went from like very much like in the favor of a smaller count was some of the 12 and 10 episode.
Yeah, I needed 10 of
Streaming
this. I
series
needed
felt a little-
less of Obi-Wan, more of this, you know?
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
God,
Sometimes a 10 or 12 can
100%.
feel drawn out, and so like a 10 or 8 would do. But this I feel definitely should have had 10. You know what I
And
mean?
they still, like, even when you have a 10, sometimes they don't stick to every, like, time frame. You know, it's like one episode could be 30 minutes, one could be like 45,
Yeah.
one could be 25.
Mhm.
It's
Right.
so all over the board. Like, no, condense that 25 and that 30. Do that.
Yeah, I think most of these were pretty consistently in the 40s. I think we may have had one 36-minute, like the second episode or something. But like the rest, thankfully, were mostly in the 40 range. But this one, you could have done with being a little longer, or we could have done with having another episode or two. You know?
Hmm. Yeah, give me 2 more. Maybe just 2 more.
Yeah.
I will be interested to see more about what's happening on the planet with Ahsoka and Shin and Balin and Sabine and the Nodi and everybody.
Mostly the Nodi, but yeah, I know what you're saying.
Mostly the Nodi. Yep.
Definitely the Nodi.
My boys.
I'll be
New favorite.
interested to see what Thrawn and all the Night Sisters on Dathomir. I'm
Mhm.
excited that we're going to see live action Dathomir. That's going to be cool.
That is going to be
Right.
cool.
The more time that we spend in this story, the more time, and especially since we're going to Dathomir and stuff, I'm thinking like Cameron Moynihan, Cal Kestis, is he going to show up?
If not him, it's
17?
going to be Scuba Stev.
Well, think about the time frame though.
Scuba
Like,
Steve. Dude.
Realistically, let's think about the time frame, because if there's one movie, or there's probably multiple movies, or I don't know, right?
Filoni's movie. Let's just talk
Yeah.
about that one, yeah.
There's Filoni's movie, but I don't know if he's planning on doing like more than one movie to tell this story or what.
Give him all the movies.
Right.
That's what I say.
There's probably
Yeah, just
some
give them
more
all of them. but-
There's probably some more series like Mando season 3,
Yeah.
Ahsoka season 2 that will fit in with
Skeleton
this movie,
Crew.
whatever.
Oh yeah, Skeleton Crew. Good lord.
The Jude Law one, yeah.
In that amount of time for those many things to release, that's probably enough time for the next Star Wars Jedi whatever game to come out.
Right.
You
Yeah.
are
And
correct.
If they use that game to reference or directly tie events into what's happening with Filoni stuff, it makes it real easy for him to just show up and be like, "Hey, what up? This is BD Wong."
BD Wong.
My boy BD Wong, dude. BD Wong better be the voice of BD Wong, dude.
Of course he won't be.
That'd be great. Because, I mean, Dave Filoni is Chopper, so, I mean, it works. You can get a dude to be a droid.
Yeah, Ben Schwartz was BB-8 with like Bill
Yeah.
Hader.
Bill Hader, yeah, a bunch of voices together.
So it'll be interesting to
yeah.
see what's happening with Thrawn and all those people. I
Mhm.
guess it'll be interesting to see. I'm most interested in Hera and Ezra and any of the Rebels crew and that part of the
Yep.
rebellion or New Republic.
Yeah.
Or whatever. And
Yep.
like, I don't really know that I care much about politics or anything with Mon Mothma or like Imperial remnant stuff.
Dude, we gonna get little Ben Solo, or Ben Solo in season 2.
Oh my god.
Okay, let's end this discussion
No.
before we
can't-
go
can't
crazy.
get Leia.
Wait, I
No,
was just gonna say,
Kanan's coming from the Force. No,
I'm just trying to.
he's reaching out, Bradshaw. Can't you hear him? He's reaching out.
I'm
Can't
just
you
trying to
feel
lay
him?
out
Do you feel
the,
him?
the Star Wars TV landscape after this right now. So the next thing I think we have is Acolyte, right?
No,
Because I know I saw that.
Okay.
It was though.
I know, but
Like-
it's Kanan. He's replying. No,
I was saying, I think Acolyte's next, then probably Skeleton Crew. I think. And then I don't know, Mando, then Ahsoka maybe. I don't know.
then Little Nody Big World.
What did
Oh, dude.
Frederick tell you? What inside scoop did he?
Oh, dude.
give
So
to you when you
Frederick
had to meet?
Prince Pope the second, he just texted me. He said, no.
I heard that he had tea with John Mayer. He was so
Yeah.
endeared by his story that he went and visited him and had tea together.
Pope and the Elephant Man together, dude.
The Pope and the Elephant Man. All right.
His Holiness is coming to visit.
We got to finish up. So thank you for joining us. We hit an hour of discussion of this episode. It's warranted. Thank you for watching.
There's so much more we could talk about.
Yeah, there is.
But we won't.
Leave your comments of our theories and
Summer's over.
our discussions. Yeah, the summer's over, guys.
Summer's over, guys.
The
We
pool.
are
the pool's drained.
from talking about Star Wars until the season resumes.
Yeah.
You know, per our contract.
Yeah.
With
We have a
nature.
contract with Kathleen Kennedy.
Only summer, guys. If you talk about
Only
it
summer.
in
Sign
October,
it in blood.
if you talk about it in
Otherwise we get
October,
sued.
it better be hot
She
in
made an
October.
exception for this one.
Well, yeah.
She
Well,
made an exception for this one since it started at the end of the summer. She made an exception, but anymore we're gonna get sued.
well, she
So,
also put in the clause that it has to be over 80 degrees. So yeah,
If we talk about this any further now that summer's over, we're gonna feel our life forces draining away since we signed the contract in blood.
that's true.
yeah. The mouse will drain us.
All right.
Messed up this time.
Thanks for joining us. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye.
Everybody. Happy summer.
Happy summer.